daughter of God.
This dream is called the Drag Queen Story Hour. I feel led to share this dream. I truly believe it is a dream from God that is meant to be shared publicly. Let's get right into it. My husband and I were walking around our neighborhood with our toddler. The neighborhood was familiar. The elementary school diagonally across from our house was a school I used to attend when I was a child. I said to my husband, this school was a fine traditional school with morals and structure. We should look into having our child go there for extracurricular programs. The school was run by older traditional teachers who valued their students, and most of us excelled in classes because of this. Not a staff member in that school lacked passion to teach. This reflected in test scores and district rankings. I told my husband we should look into having our child take extra classes there. As homeschooling parents, we're not only responsible for his education but also his social life. We walked into the big building. Big glass windows surrounded the entrance. I was excited and telling my son about memories I've had there and how he will have some of his own. The babysitter was already there for the early birds. She was reading a book to them. She was a mellow, trustworthy woman, so I let my son sit down to hear her read, leaving him in what I believed were good hands. My husband and I walked back to our house. Before we sat down, I got a notification on my phone. Someone is filming the reading session. It wasn't the babysitter anymore. Now it was a drag queen with hideous makeup and flamboyant, inappropriate attire. This attire should never be worn around children. I showed my husband, and we rushed back to the school. My son asked me, pointing at the drag queen, "Mom, what is that?" I replied, "That is mental illness, and turning away from God." I grabbed his hand, and led him to his father, to walk him out. I turned to have a word with the drag queen and the parents gathered there. Those who let their children be sexualized in this way. I lost my temper with everyone in the room with the deprivation that is happening to these little children. The parents were mumbling, half embarrassed and half in agreement. One said, "We know, but times are changing." Gradually, that embarrassment turned into anger towards me. The drag queen played the victim, "I'm just reading a book to the kids." He had a sinister smile. I stood my ground and announced to the parents, "Your children's blood is on your hands. You are standing by, while these innocent gifts from God are sexualized in the name of inclusivity." I told my husband to grab our son and flee while they could. As soon as they left the building, all of the huge windows were barricaded, and the building turned pitch black. It was like a scene from the TV series Squid Games. I started running, and everyone began chasing me. Like bloodthirsty maniacs, there were no words that could be uttered to stop them. I was getting stabbed, sliced, and shot from different directions. I was dying, but I was still trying to get the parents back to their senses. Blood was pouring out of me. My family members were there now. They began attacking me as well, adding to my wounds. My baby cousin was there. He started pushing me. I grabbed him and told him, "Don't do this." I knew he was a victim. He was crying tears of grief while continuing to push me down. Now his hands were covered with my blood. I began to run up the stairs to the highest point of the now pitch-black building. I reached the top floor, and it opened up into a dark warehouse. I could see a massive crowd of parents and family members. With them was an even more massive group of drag queens with grins on their faces. The drag queens began applauding when they saw my state. The crowd started closing in on me. I recognized my fate. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "I'm ready to go be with Jesus." Then they killed me. In my mind, I knew nothing I say or do will satisfy them. To them, it was better to have my blood on their hands than for them to be convicted about their morally corrupt actions. I woke up from my dream. I was physically exhausted, taking a whole day to recover. This is my second dream in which I could feel myself spiritually fighting for my life. I physically felt the pain. Here are some things in summary. The traditional, morally upright school was no more, nor were the parents. The parents preferred rather to be viewed as good by evildoers than righteous according to the word of God. The parents were already seared in their consciences before bringing their kids to this terrible event. There was no way of reaching them. The children saw the hypocrisy of their parents, but that's what they were trained to do and don't know how to act differently. The drag queens will end up accounting for the blood of these children, parents, and anyone under their evil influence.